can't stop us.
You can't stop
But
us.
also, sorry, Daddy Vivo, or like whatever the fuck,
Oh
because
boy.
obviously, don't pull one of their videos. Okay, heard. So we're gonna give the room a little bit of time to like get going, I guess, right?
And for
You
anybody
know,
who's here, if you could help us out, I'm gonna do a thing on Instagram quickly, but if like people who are watching, maybe share this link. This is a community event. This is a community. This is what we're doing together. We are Defiant together. Um, Thanks for going through that with us. Also, we heard and saw everybody's like support of like, yeah, we're too defiant for YouTube, apparently. Um
I didn't see it. I didn't see it, unfortunately. Um, we do have a call on the line, so we're gonna wait because we want everybody else to be included in the call. Come on, come on, everybody, come on, everybody. I'd play a Nina Simone song, but apparently, that's really against the rules. In the meantime, we've got several lines still open. 71234 on it, or 6648. Um,
Did I
okay,
not say
you know what?
Mercury is going retrograde tomorrow? Again, this all falls
Is it?
deeply in line. I said that
Is
before,
that
and
is
this
that
is I'm
is,
gonna.
is that what you is that what that's what you were talking about before?
Mhm.
I heard something about space. Anyway, um, Chris, can you go ahead and put the caller in?
I can't wait to hear this caller.
Hey, caller. Caller, are you there? Hello, caller, are you there? Hello, caller. Hmm.
We're
It looks
hanging
like we don't
on.
have the caller.
We're hanging on.
Hanging on. We're having some technical
Thank
issues
you to
tonight.
everybody for just rolling with us right
Yeah.
now. This is live TV,
So
baby.
our theme for the night, for everybody that's just joining us, is Defiance. We were just listening to this wonderful Nina Simone song, and what that got me thinking of was how that might have felt in the context of that moment, right?
Oof.
Like like defiant inside of those times, and how what defiance looks like now. And then I was thinking about what's the punkish shit going right now. And there's this artist, I don't know if you've heard of them, called Infinite Coals.
Just very recently was made aware. Can't wait to learn more, but please can you tell us a bit about Infinite Coals
Okay, so Infinite Coals is Ghostface Killer's son,
of Wu-Tang?
and he of Wu-Tang Clan, right? And my buddy Adam turned me on to this guy,
Okay.
and his record, it's called Boots, I think, and
Yeah,
he
that's the
drops a
one
lot.
I've heard.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, he's like a drag queen, I think, right? And I think for maybe obvious reasons, if you can imagine what Ghostface Killah is about, um, he doesn't speak to his son, right? For 15 years. And then this kid drops the hottest diss track on his dad that is like one of the hottest club stop like
It's
tracks that I've heard
ballroom
in
to a
years.
T. Like, this track is, like,
It's so good.
absolutely of the ballroom world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, I don't
It's
know
so
enough
good.
about him to know. I don't know if, like, he actually identifies as a drag queen, but, like, absolutely as a performer, like, and yeah, is, like, leaning into that, and I mean, it's sick. It is so
It's
sick.
sick. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Um Okay, so it sounds like we have our caller back. So
Are we gonna do the
let's
caller
uh
first,
let's
or
go
are we
to
gonna do the video first? What should we do?
um let's do the video.
Okay. Is
Chris,
that is that something we
you
can
want to
do,
you want to throw the
producer
video?
Chris? Thanks, producer Chris. The boots one. Aw. Okay, well, then we can go to the
Okay.
caller.
Hey, let's go to the caller. Yeah, let's go to the caller.
We
Let's go to the caller. Let's go to the caller.
Thank you to everybody for rolling
Hi,
with us
caller.
right now. Hi, caller.
Hello, caller.
One moment, please. Oh, it's been a day. It's been a night. Technology has been a fucking thing right now. Okay, so while we wait to see if we can roll to the video or the caller, let's talk more about hey, what defiance means to you. You, Craig, absolutely. I mean, from the moment I met you, were like, I feel like you came out of the womb defiant.
Yeah, I've got a problem with authority generally, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to say the
Pretty
least.
much.
Yeah, yeah.
But and also it was informed by I think once I learned that people were lying to me.
Ooh,
People that I trusted were lying to me. Like the authority figures in my life were lying to, like, I don't know, protect me or something. I don't know exactly,
that's the most
but
generous
um
reason.
whatever it was, Santa Claus, drugs are bad, anything, and not that drugs aren't bad in some way,
No, but we've
but
been lied to a
uh
lot about drugs.
y- yeah, the reasoning behind it,
Mhm.
and all of these little things, once I started realizing that they were not being truthful with me because they didn't respect me enough to be able to like, you know what I mean, figure it out, or like what it seemed like to me was that everybody else was either dumb or buying into it. You know what I mean? Just like, okay, fine. You know what? I'll start repeating it as well. I'll let you tell me
That's
what to
something
do.
I
I'll tell other
relate
people what
to
to do.
so much. I mean, I definitely relate to the like feeling annoying in my body when adults were lying to me because they thought I like couldn't handle it because I was always called like too sensitive,
Hmm.
and that like enraged me. So I'm like, my
Hmm.
body knew they were lying, but they're like, oh, they can't handle it. The Santa Claus thing, though, did you just mention Santa Claus or did I? I never
Yeah,
believed in
Really?
that was something I never
I
believed
don't
in
know
Santa
where.
Claus. Oh.
Hello, hello.
Oh,
What are we hearing
oh, wait.
our
It
caller?
sounds
Is
like, oh,
everybody hearing
hey,
our
we have
caller?
a caller. Go ahead,
Now they
caller.
hear me?
Can you
Yes. Who are you, caller? What's your name?
Hello, hello. It's Diana.
Diana.
Hi, Diana.
How you doing? I'm
I'm
calling
doing
because
very
I'm a
well, Diana.
defiant
How are you
individual.
doing?
I
Why
am
can
doing marvelous.
Oh,
I am calling because I am
okay.
a defiant
Okay. Tell us
individual.
about it.
Oh
tell
my
us
God,
about
I
Not
how
keep
you
tell
are
us.
going on my.
Yes,
defiant,
exactly.
Oh,
Diana?
because I go against the grain of everything in my life. In every way, shape, or form. I'm the black sheep of the family, which I think is unique for anybody who is considered themselves a black sheep because we go against the grain of everything in the norm of individuals in
Yeah.
every life. I, because
Heard.
Okay.
I used to,
Okay.
I used to take
So,
I used to take being a black sheep as bad. I take it as good because
mhm.
we don't follow in the norm. We go outside of the norm. So I go. So I used to say, "Oh, I'm the black sheep. It's the bad thing." I take that as the good thing now. So I'm defiant. So there you go. That's my 2 cents.
Hell yeah.
Do you remember when Diana you realized that you were defiant relative to
Oh yeah.
the others?
When I was defiant when I was probably when I came to the United States because I
How old were you?
didn't know anything. I came to the United States when I was 7, 1982,
From where?
Okay.
Romania.
Romania. Interesting.
Romania. Drag
And
and I was
so what so
go ahead.
then forgive me if I'm putting words in your mouth.
No,
So
you're
you
not. Trust
came
me, you're not.
to the United okay. Watch for now.
Uh,
What um so Diana, so you
yes.
came to the United States as a 7-year-old from Romania, and I
Uh-huh.
imagine did you speak English at the time?
I did not. I learned English by going to school, and I never took ESL,
Mhm.
obviously, because I can't seem to form words normally. I took regular classes. They never put me in ESL classes at all. Surprisingly, I just picked it
Well,
up.
you
But I used
sound
to watch
you sound
TV
fine to me.
in.
But
Ye-
Oh, I don't trust
so
me.
so did
Because when I get nervous,
so
I jumble words together really badly. I'm
As the
terrible.
rest of us do.
Yeah, but I've gotten
yeah, I
away
thought
with
don't
terrible
read me.
things
Don't read me right now, Diana.
accidentally.
Um
Hmm? Anyways, yeah. So
okay.
that's how
So
I'm
I
defiant.
imagine that you might have felt like you might have felt like a black sheep or an
Yeah,
outcast in
because
some
everybody got
way
rid of me. That's
coming
how I
into
got
this.
Okay.
treated as a
Oh,
black sheep by people in my family. Because everybody got rid of me when I caused trouble. My
okay. Can we
dad,
slow
my
down here a lot? Okay. I need us to slow down. Okay, because Diana, I think this is this is our friend Diana. I think you called on our first
first, yeah.
episode.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's.
we know you from the community. Thank you for calling. And I didn't know this about, so I just learned that
Oh
you
my
know,
God, girl!
came here at
You'd be surprised in
7.
my stuff I've kept from the group a lot.
I mean, it
Write
takes
a book.
time to share shit. That's fine. I just can. Is it okay if I ask some
I just
more
can't put it on
specific
YouTube for the
questions?
world to hear.
Is it okay if I ask some
Go
more
ahead.
specific
I'll
questions?
be my guest. I'm an open book. I don't care.
Okay, so what brought like did you come here with your family? Like what was the
Oh, well,
context?
my dad brought me here to put. My dad brought me to the United States because he did not want me to stay in Romania for whatever reason. I don't know. Well, actually, I don't want to go. Anyways, he lied to my mom because you can't take me out of a country, especially Romania, without both permission from another parent. He lied to my
Mhm.
mom when he
Mhm.
brought me here, telling her that he was going to go back and bring her to the United States. He never spoke to her until 20, 30 years later over the phone. Anyways, so he brought
Wait,
me to the United
so
States
did
and he
when
couldn't handle.
So
Go
you
ahead.
wait, so
you're
slow
it was
down.
just
Right. Yeah, so wait,
I'm
you
going really
had
fast.
a
Sorry.
It's okay. Don't
so
apologize. It's just like we
so
have
you
time and
stopped
space. You can slow down, take a breath. We're good. We're here for the
Sure.
whole night. It's cool.
I know, but I don't want to bore people with my story. But
You're
anyways,
not boring
and I'm sure
anybody.
there's people waiting to hold. Go on. So
we're
my
here
dad brought me
we're
to the
here to
United
talk to
States.
you, Diana. Yes.
So I go back. So my dad brought me to the United States when I was 7 and dropped me off in Temecula, California, to his siblings and his parents, and left me there. And he took off somewhere.
Oof.
Yes. So I came to the United States when I was 7, wandered around Temecula, Tustin, San Diego ish, and then he left me there. And I lived there for like 3 years. And then I was too much
Left you
for his siblings.
wait. He left you he left you there
For his
where
siblings to take care of me.
he left you for his siblings to take care of you. How old were you then?
And um, I was 7,
This all
from 7
happened
to 10.
immediately. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
7 to 10. Wow.
yeah. He brought me to the United States,
Wow.
and he kind of he left.
So he
He
like
brought
dropped
me
you
to the
off.
United States when I was 7. Yeah, he dropped me off, and he kind of left me there and left. He went to go do whatever he did for like 3 years, and I was too much to handle for his siblings and his parents.
Okay,
And
well,
they're
slow
old,
down
you know.
around this too, Diana. I hate loathe the language of too much, especially when we're talking about a child. I imagine that's
Uh
something you
huh.
were told, but what does
Oh
that
yeah. Oh
mean
no,
that
I
you were
was.
too much?
I was neurotic. I was neurotic for 10-year-old, I guess, because I was traumatic. I was traumatized when I was
Well, you were
younger.
traumatized. Yeah, I get. I'm like,
Yeah. Pulled away
this
from
is
my mom and everybody I knew when I was
of
younger.
course,
So
and this
yeah.
is where I just don't want anybody else hearing this. Like, I like children are not too much. Yeah, I just that's
I know.
I don't want you to
That's
have
why I'm
that
doing that
narrative.
ketamine
Yeah.
treatment to find out what happened when I was
Yeah.
younger.
Right.
So now you see why I'm combining everything together. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, he basically brought me to the United States, dropped me in La Jolla. That's where my family lives to this day.
La
He
Jolla.
dropped me there and boom, left
Interesting.
me. And I lived there for 3 years. And because I was too much for them, he came and took me away. And I lived with my dad, who didn't. I don't. We didn't have the best relationship when I was younger. And to this day, I don't like reading the Bible because he punished me by me having to copy the Bible.
Uh,
And I used to have to write it out, a children's Bible. And then
gross.
he used kind of like to force me to go to church. I don't like going to church anymore because he used to take me to church and I have to sit there. When I was little,
Fair.
I don't remember liking church, sitting
I
there.
mean, that's
So I don't go to church anymore to this day.
fair.
I hate going to church. I don't like any kind of religion because of him. So,
Mm.
anyways, when I was 10, I got adopted outside of my family because nobody out of his 8 siblings, well, one's 7, because 2 of them didn't live in the country, or one didn't live in the country. None of them wanted to adopt me. So I got adopted outside of my family to a perfect stranger who I was friends with her
When
niece
so how old
when
was
I was
this?
10. When I was 10.
This is an incredible amount of trauma for a child to go
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm so sorry. I mean, thank you for sharing and like, yeah, defined as fuck for you to call in and share your story. So thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
So,
You're
so
welcome.
Diana, what I'm interested in is
Uh-huh.
how. So, do you
Mhm.
think that you were pushed into Defiance because you
Mhm.
were an outcast, or do you think that
Oh
you
yeah.
were in some way like programmed that way?
I think I was programmed from when I was little because I had no choice but to be defiant because
Like,
I kept being torn away from different
hmm,
things. I was torn away from my mother, my family, my country, and was just plopped. I kept being plopped different places. That's why I
right.
keep going away every 10 years from different places. Every 10 years, I keep moving
you
Right.
need to move. You need to
subconsciously.
move.
You know
That's what I
what,
keep thinking every 10 years.
Diana? That's
No,
very
that makes sense.
interesting that you bring that up. I can identify with that.
Yes.
I bounced around all over the place
Yes.
my whole
Uh-huh.
life, and
And I
only
have to say,
recently I realized when I find myself here in Los Angeles, um,
uh-huh.
I'm older. I'm not as aggressive or excitable as I once was. And
Yeah.
it's harder to lay any type of roots or get any type of
Yeah.
like circle around
No
you,
place is home.
which
Yep.
yet again,
No place
it,
is
it, it,
home.
it, and
Yeah.
it creates another layer of defiance. Like,
Mm.
Yes.
I hate it there. I hate it there. Do you ever feel something like that?
Yes. Like it just doesn't feel comfortable. Like I just don't feel welcomed.
because yeah, because you weren't invited, or because you
Yeah,
don't know anybody, you
correct.
know?
Or you've been there
Yep.
for too long.
Because
Yeah. I
and
mean,
how how easy is it to have someplace like that when you don't have roots someplace, you know?
mhm. I mean,
When you
I've lived
don't
in Oregon the
have
longest. Then I lived in California now.
Mhm.
I've lived
And
in Oregon
how
now,
Do you
going
have any
on 20 years now. 20,
okay.
yeah, exactly 20
s-
years.
so so do you have a laundromat? Do you have a bodega? Do you
Do you have
have
roots?
I have
a
a
favorite
laundromat in my home.
restaurant that you can well, but what I'm saying, Diana, is
In
do you have
general,
a
I have
place like that
everything.
that you can go to? No, 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 no. Can you go to a place like that? Is there some place that you can walk into that people are like, "Hey, Diana, it's on your beat." It makes you feel like part of the
No,
community. Do you have something like that
no,
there?
no,
Does it
not
feel like
really.
home? Does it feel like home?
No,
Yeah,
no. I don't decorate my
it's
house
hard.
like
Why
it's my
don't
home
you? Why don't you have some? Why don't you have someplace like that
because I don't.
in
I
Oregon?
just I've lived here 10 years and I don't have barely anything decorating my house, and it doesn't feel
Oof.
home.
Are you
Yeah, but
okay?
Probably
I will.
why don't you have any
it's
place that you can that you that makes it feel like you're part of the community. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this because if it's
I
something
know
that,
I understand.
you know, I think that Defiance, I don't know what the root of it is, but it seems like in your case
Oh, I know what
that
the root of mine
that
is.
this is something. Well, tell me.
My
Mhm.
I no, I think it's just ingrained in me, not because most of my family members didn't want me, so I feel
So see what
abandoned.
I'm saying?
And
That this seems to me like it's something that you that has been put on you because you haven't felt
Like out of
loved.
protection for yourself.
yeah,
You haven't
yeah,
felt
because my dad took
attached,
me from my
Yeah,
mom,
but
and
and
I
you
never
don't
got to
have a
see her
community
again.
around you.
well, I mean,
Right.
I want to like include like it's not that Diana doesn't feel attached to that. Like her earliest experiences as a child growing up was being rejected by her family. Like
Yeah,
that's like one
sure.
of the like deepest
So I
core
created my own. I
wounds,
created my
core
own family.
traumas that anybody could experience. But also, it makes sense that I get Diana. I think what you said, like you don't have anything on your walls. That's something I really relate to. Because
Y- Yeah,
I mean, I did.
I have 5 things on my wall in my whole house that are,
And
and that's pretty
and
sad.
is it because like you just like don't feel like you want to make a home there? It doesn't feel like your home.
Yeah,
Like or you're like just need
no,
to be ready to leave at any point.
correct, correct. Because I'm slowly getting rid of stuff, like being a minimalist. Yeah,
Minimalist, yeah.
there you go. Yeah. So I'm like, I
Okay,
don't
and
need
why are you
stuff.
minimalist? Because you had to, like, up and leave and you were, like, traded and thrown off other like, it it makes sense to be a minimalist if,
Because there's
like, you
things I'm
couldn't
like,
call
why am I
anywhere
holding on
home.
to certain things? Because I don't. There's things I'm like, I don't. Why do I hold on to things? I don't need certain things anymore. Getting rid of stuff, like getting a
What
whole
are
new
some
lease on life.
what is the last significant thing that you threw out? The last thing that you were
Mm,
like, ah, should I throw
I got
this
rid of.
out? Should I not throw this
I
mm.
out?
actually got rid of
Yeah.
my
What was the
ex-husband's
last
bike.
thing?
Actually, my husband's bike I got rid of yesterday that I've been holding on
Ooh.
10
Okay.
years.
All right, we're dialing in
That feels
some like punk rock Defiance
hell yeah.
now. Let's go with this. So
Mm.
you threw out your ex-husband's bike.
Mm.
How
I
did
didn't
that
throw it out.
feel?
I donated. I don't throw anything out. I donate or I give
Okay.
away
Aw,
to
How
that's
how did
Goodwill.
that how did that feel? How
Felt
did that
really
feel?
good.
How did it feel?
Great. It's out of my
How
house.
did it feel when you were driving away from it?
I didn't drive away. They came and got it. But same thing. It felt
even
great to give it
better.
away. I'm
Even
like, thank
better.
God it's out of my house, girl, because it went to somebody who could use it. I don't have to look at it every day in my garage.
Love that for you.
Mhm.
It's like more weight off of me. I'm like, ugh.
What
And there's some
took
more.
you
I have
so long? What took you so
Legos I
long
have
to
to
get rid of
fucking get
it?
rid of. I have Legos that my husband loved to buy. I hate Legos to the core, and they're old ones, and they're bagged and labeled, and he put them together and he bagged them and put them back. I have big I have like containers,
Why
and
do
I
you
have to
still
get rid of
have
them
them?
because
No, no,
I don't
yeah, they're
because they're
expensive.
worth
They're
something,
expensive.
and someone has to come
Yeah.
get them, and they weigh a lot. I've already given halfway to my
Uh,
daughter.
okay. I get the practical
I have
reasons,
another.
of course.
So my
And
husband liked them, but they're worth something. I might as well get some money for them.
sure.
So I want someone to come get them, but I'm stubborn and I don't want to give them a whole to some store, and they'll get 3 times more than what they're worth. I don't want the store to gain more money. I want to get me because they're ziplocked and labeled. I have the books. I have everything. I even have the boxes because he was that neurotic.
Do you
I guess
hate Lego
and
because of your ex-husband?
uh-huh. He's not
Do
my
you hate
husband.
like
He's not my ex. I didn't
I know
divorce him.
I said ex-husband, yes. Do
I
you
know
hate
everybody does.
Lego? Do you hate Lego because of him?
I've I've hated Legos since I was little because my brother had them and I stepped on them, but I don't like them because I just don't like Legos. I've
Okay,
never
fair.
liked Legos,
Okay.
but he bought them because he loved them.
Okay.
I don't like them, but they're valuable. I know. They are worth a lot of money. They're worth a lot. Anyways, sorry, go on.
Well,
But anyways, but that's
well,
my defiance is
well.
because I don't go with the norm. I go against. I've always have. I'm stubborn. Anyways, there you go. That's my defiance for
Well,
the night.
I respect that
With the show with you
I
guys.
respect that in you, Diana. I think
Oh,
I appreciate you calling. It's
oh,
always wonderful to hear your voice. Have you started? I believe the first time that you
Mhm.
spoke to us, you were going to start some ketamine therapy. Have
Saturday.
you started
This
that
coming
ketamine therapy?
Saturday. Finally, I'm gonna this
Okay, so it's
Saturday.
this
I'm
Saturday that you
prepared.
start.
Yes, finally.
Hell,
It's gonna happen.
that kind of
Are
therapy
you
right now feels like to me a form of defiance.
Yes, because
Just
I'm
because it's like
going.
not like a widely accepted. I just am like thinking of how I grew up in the like how I especially like the anti-drug like world that we live in. I that feels
Mhm.
like a form of defiance to me for you to
Yeah.
do that kind of therapy.
Yep. It is
It's
because
very
I can't wait to see what happens afterwards. Hopefully, it's gonna open my mind and everything, for better. Because there's gonna be 6 more treatments after it, or 5 more.
cool.
So it's a continuous thing, which is gonna be better for me in the long run.
Yeah.
well, we're
Anyways,
really
I will let you guys go
interested in
because we
Please,
have
hearing how
another
that
yeah,
goes
caller.
keep
for
us
you.
posted, please. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you
Love
so
you
much,
This
guys.
Diana,
call was
and
beautiful. Thanks, Diana.
love you.
You guys have a good evening, and I love
And
you too. You made me cry, Mallory.
Oh
Beginning of the
no.
show. Love you,
Me
Hollywood.
too, Diana. Me too.
Bye. Bye, you guys.
Me.
bye bye. So so that was a great call. It was great to hear from
I
Diana.
love Diana. I love like her bringing up sort of like I mean, and you picking up on this like where does defiance come from? And again, I think I could relate to her of sort of just like early childhood things, where it's like that's a way of survival is by defying the oppressive shit around you, you know?
Hmm. Yes, yes. Mine came out of pure resentment. I think that hers came out of protection. You
Yeah,
know,
and that's like
I was privileged in a way
you were
where uh I didn't have the pain that I understand, or that I understand, that I feel like I understand what Diana might have gone through,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
I think that my understanding of it was just real resentment for the lies, resentment for like my trust that was broken, you know? Um, but in relatively benign ways when I look at it like that. Anyway,
I
we would
mean,
love to hear. Go ahead.
well, I mean, was it last episode or a couple episodes ago where when you shared some experiences, like when you went to fucking Sunday school with like Catholic people and you were
Yeah, but
fucking locked in a closet? You have some. I just don't
I
want to
wasn't ve-
like discount some sort of like painful experiences that you had in your childhood that might have like contributed to your sense of defiance, and also that like you're Jewish.
what would it what? How does that make me defiant?
Well, I don't know. I'm just a big believer in like ancestry and like generational trauma and shit and like
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to like put that
Anyway,
on you, but yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I think we have some more calls on the line. Let's cleanse the palate a little bit. I want to go to another video. Let's Chris, why don't you play a music video or something? Welcome back. Here we are. 500 live. If you haven't already, call in 712-345 on it. We'd love to hear from you. This is a call in talk show. You are our guest. You are our feature. And whatever you want to talk about, like dear Diana, we just got off the phone with, um, yeah, we'll talk to you in the middle of the night. Actually, you know what? We're getting really, really, really close to midnight at 11 o'clock. Um, I mean, at sorry, in the central time zone.
Correct.
Yeah. It's been one. And
We're
we
having
do
a
have,
day. We're having a day.
yeah. So you know what? Let's just let's just roll the midnight thing, and then we're gonna come back to a call.
From Winnipeg to Waco, Madison to Monterrey, it's midnight in the Central Time Zone.
Welcome Central Time Zone. I'm Craig, and we have a
I'm
caller on the line.
Valerie.
Caller, are you there?
I'm here. Hi.
Hello,
Hello.
Can you hear me?
hello. I
Yes.
can.
Yes.
What's
Hi.
your name?
Madeline. What's yours?
Oh, hi, Madeline. I'm Craig. Yeah, if you're watching, you know that. What did you like to call in and talk about today?
Well, I figured Defiance would be a good episode for me to call in. So I just thought I would call in and say hi.
Thank you for calling, Madeline.
You're so
Yeah,
welcome,
yeah.
Mallory.
Nice to hear you.
Yeah. A little behind the curtain here. I do know Madeline well. So what did you? I think I understand Defiance. So why don't you tell us why it is that you called in?
Well, I think that a preoccupation with defiance as a personality trait is kind of problematic. Because if we're living
Okay.
our lives, yeah.
If we're living our lives to be defiant against authority figures, then we're not really in charge of our lives. So like when you're coming like into your own as a teenager or as a young person, it makes sense to be like outwardly defiant. But when you're an adult, you shouldn't need to be defiant because ideally you're just yourself.
Hmm. I can't. I like. I love this take, and I would love to hear like more about how you got there, because I think for me immediately, I'm like, well, I didn't ever get to be defiant as a teen, so I'm like, I had to take up those years as an adult to get the defiance out, you
To
know?
make sense. Right.
Yeah. But I hear
Yeah.
you. I hear you. So I would love to hear more.
Well, I think I have the advantage of not having. I left home when I was very young, and so I didn't have anybody to be defiant against. So it was just sort of me figuring it out. So I think that
Okay,
from an
but was
outward
leaving
perspective,
home leaving home was an act of defiance, right?
no, it really wasn't. It really wasn't.
Oh.
Nobody cared. It really wasn't an act of defiance. It was like an act of self-preservation.
Mm.
So while I think I have like people have or I assume that people have the perception that I am defiant in some ways as a personality trait, I don't really identify with that because I do think that it centers other people as opposed to yourself. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I like that. I do like that. And also I don't want to like I never want to
I'm just thinking
project
here.
my own sort of shit on other people. And so I hear you when you say that like you leaving was an act of self-preservation, which like I feel like Diana's call, if you heard it, I feel like,
I
because for me,
did.
I
I
really,
did.
there is for me a connection to sort of like defiance coming out of survival, and like me not really realizing I was being, you know, defiant. But yeah, so this is very, very interesting. But I'm very interested in this, like that defiance is centering others. I
So
do.
Yeah, I
unpack
mean,
it.
I think it
Yeah.
can be like an important part of like an individuation process. Like as a young person, like you have to define. I mean, a lot of how we're defined is by what we're not or what we're against, and so
Mhm.
that in its like at its very core is defiant. But at the same time, it's at some point it like outgrows its usefulness, because if you're just trying to be against, it's just you lose trying to be yourself.
You know, I'm so glad you called. I'm gonna make this a little personal right now because because I've been feel like
That's
deep
fine.
in this moment with my family, and I
Mm-hmm.
definitely went through like a fuck them, I'm gonna defiant shit, and with my dad just dying, I'm feel very much in a moment of like I'm not trying to like do anything against them, but more trying to like
Make
put
space for
my own
yourself.
perspective on myself, exactly, and that might feel defiant to them, but that's not why I'm doing it. It's just because I'm centering myself for once.
Right, and
And
that's the
I feel
difference
like that's
between
kind of
an
what you're
adolescent.
speaking to, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference between an adolescent motivation and an adult
Right.
motivation. Like you can
Right. It's
be
not like,
angry at people
"Fuck
that
you."
have
Yeah.
put you in a box. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you should be
Huh.
angry at people that put you in a box.
Yeah.
But it's acting out of like anger is one thing, but acting just to be defiant is a different thing. Because the way you are may
Okay.
be defiant to somebody else, but that doesn't mean that's your motivation for it.
That's what you're doing. Yeah. No, I heard. I did. Yeah. No, I totally get that. Yeah.
Uh, uh, okay, but and I was thinking about this. So it feels like though that there is a culture and that there is a community that I identified with. As much as it was like as you're saying, like an identity that one might put on themselves, right? Which would be an unhealthy thing as an adult. Um, there's also this community, and I wouldn't necessarily define it as defiant necessarily, but I would define it as other. I would define it as outside of the normal group. And
Sure.
that is attractive to me still. And there the it feels like you have to be kind of aware of what's going on with them to be able to be one of it. So I understand what you mean about it, like centering them, but by like definition, by aesthetic, like it is the opposite side of the wheel of this thing that's moving around. You know you know what I'm saying? Like how
Yeah,
many
but yeah, but
people do you maybe know that were like they had a style and then it became hot or trendy and then they ditched the style, right? Because it became trendy. Now,
sure, but you're
is it
talking
in
about
a way
aesthetic.
you would
You're not
say,
talking about.
"Ye-
I mean, that's.
sure,"
I mean,
and
even
I'm
the
just
word
using it
you
as an example. Yeah. And I'm just using it as an example to maybe illustrate the point. But and forgive me if I'm not doing it well, Madeline. But um, yeah, it just feels to me like there is to know what you're against, or to be aware of what's going on outside of your sphere, outside of your vision of yourself, even if it's a component that colors whatever you are. Is that necessarily bad?
No, 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 not at all. And I think that sometimes we have to be part of these countercultures that give us a space to like figure out who we are. And
Hmm.
some of them offer the freedom to do that. Although I would argue that most countercultures are pretty rigid in their own way. But I think
Yeah.
I think
Fair, fair.
there's right. I think there's a big difference between how you identify in the like in the outer world, or how you look, or what aesthetic you prescribe to, or et cetera, and like your core belief system. And like I said, it's important to know what you're against, but it's more important to know who you are, and that is a totally different thing. That kind of
I
is like the like
Y-
maturation of
I think yeah, it's funny because
defining.
I'm like I so hear and understand both of you so much, and I think like we're talking like we're like being a person is being in relationship to everything always, so like
Well,
forming an
sort of. I
identity
mean,
is
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think we're a person in and of ourselves, regardless of what's outside of us. And like as
I
adult people, it's our job to like separate out what is outside and what is like intrinsic. You know what I mean? And of course, we
I
all have to live in
don't
the world.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing I'm saying. Like I don't disagree with the first thing you said, but also I think more what I'm trying to is that like we are just like being born, we're constantly around other people, so we are necessarily
Hmm.
influenced, so I think yeah, that's more that it's like we are always necessarily like informed. And again, maybe
Right.
this is like me speaking more to like how I grew up, and where it's like I kind of needed to identify other and me more strongly to find out who I am. And like I'm like
Yeah,
just
totally.
beginning to learn who I am,
Well, and if you're like, if you come up in like a very oppressive like
Yeah.
family or whatever, and you don't like, I was in some ways lucky because I really had a lot. I had only had freedom, and that was the main thing I
Mm.
had. But and I think it served me well in my life. But I do think like it is our responsibility as individuals to kind of figure out where we start and everything outside of us ends. You know what I mean? Like
For
this, like,
sure. Yeah.
and like how we
Okay,
like what
so
actually
I
matters.
think that we actually totally agree. I agree. I agree with you. So then, if you don't mind, Madeline, because this is the nature of our show, and you walked into it. Um, we're here to talk about stuff. So you've brought up a lot of interesting points, and I'd love to get into it with you. So I'll start with asking. So you left because nobody cared.
Well, I didn't leave. I mean,
What's that about?
I wouldn't put it that way exactly. But it was very clear to
You
me
did.
that I wasn't. Did I? Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I left. Well, it's not that they didn't care, but I wasn't a consideration in terms of like nobody was thinking about my best interest, I guess is a better way to put it. There was no like plan. Once I like was about 11, it was very clear to me. So I felt like a very, very, very strong pull inside of me to leave. And it was just absolutely, I can't imagine having stayed
So you
it was
left.
like,
What
Well,
do
can
you
we
so
slow
so what does
down?
that
Can we
mean,
wait,
left?
wait. Can we slow down around there? Because I'm really curious about the like. I love getting into like specificities around words. So it's like the difference between like them caring and sort of like there was no plan, the not paying attention. I think I kind of understand that, but I would love to hear you like expound on like on what that felt like as
okay.
an 11-year-old to know that like, oh, they care, but like you're not being considered, you know?
Well, to be honest, when I was young, I don't think that I had the intellectual capability to understand what was happening. You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
Now
Yeah.
I get it. Like my mother was an award of the state, and she, grew up in foster care about that age, about 11. So I think when I turned 11, she just checked out.
Oh, yeah, that shit can happen with parents. They get triggered by the age by our ages
Right,
when
right.
yeah,
And that didn't
mhm,
occur to me
mhm.
till way into my
Yeah,
30s, and then I was
yeah,
like, oh, that makes sense. And
yeah.
so it was, and my mother pulled me out of school in second grade, so I was homeschooled, which was total
Why did
bullshit.
she pull
So,
you out of school?
um, you know, I don't know exactly. Like I
Mm.
wouldn't. I really hated it, and I would like cram my body into the cubbies in elementary school and like hurt myself and like throw up before so I don't really know.
School
Like
is a real bad
that's
time for
one.
you, sounds like.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. But I think it's
Hmm,
because I said I didn't want to do it, so she pulled me out, and I credit her for that. Good job. But there
okay,
was no plan. So
okay.
when I was about 14, it was just like I'm gone. I'm out of here, and I left. And it
Mhm.
never occurred to me to go back. And when people talk
Where did
about
you
like
go?
how difficult, I went to Chicago, and it was really rough.
As a 14-year-old?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I have so many questions. I okay, I wanna know more about the relationship with your mother. Did your mom know that you left? Like, did you talk
yeah,
to
they
her
both
about
knew.
this?
They both
Okay,
knew because eventually we had to deal with like I had gotten arrested a bunch, and they were in another state, and it was like legal
before you were
issues, so I had
14,
to
you
be
got arrested?
no, after I left home.
Oh,
So
after you left,
and
okay,
eventually, yeah, I eventually had to be emancipated, like just to protect them legally. So they knew. They knew.
okay.
Yeah, they knew.
Whoa.
Um, and
How did you decide to go to Chicago?
um, so Jesus, I was born in Colorado, but when my mother left my dad, we both moved to Northwest Indiana. And so I was close. I was close to Chicago. My whole family's from Chicago. I felt very like it was the closest major city to me. So
Yeah, that
that's
Mhm.
where
checks
I
out,
went.
yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense, yeah, totally makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I went. Yeah.
And so that seems like a pretty extreme act of defiance.
Well, when you're young, it's like life
you know,
isn't a
it's
fact. So it didn't even feel scary to me. It felt like, I don't know, it just felt like necessary or something. I really, it was like an overwhelming drive to do it.
This is something
And
I
it was,
really sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I just this is something I
no,
really
no.
appreciate that like is coming into this defiance, especially, Craig, when you're talking about sort of that like, like you feel like you were born defiant, but might have maybe have the privilege of not like being defiant out of survival, because I think when I look back on my childhood and all the ways that like I acted out or like made decisions outside of my family, I was never consciously thinking like I'm doing this because fuck my family, like oh fuck you, I'm doing things because I'm defiant. For me it sounds sort of like what you're saying, Madeline, like it was like there was no other option. It was like if I'm trying to
Yeah,
stay
it
alive,
was
then this is what I do.
yeah, it
hmm,
wasn't like to say fuck you to them at
Yeah.
all. Like I've
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
things to say fuck you to people
Yeah.
many times in my
Yeah.
life, but this was not one of them. It was a real like inner thing. Like I wish I had that kind of
hmm,
bravery as an adult. I don't. But I
Mm,
really had it when I was young. It was just a life was not a fact yet. I could kind of just move
mm,
through, and even when really bad things happened, I could walk away. You know what I
mm.
mean? And start over
hmm.
until a certain age, and then you just can't do that anymore.
So annoying.
Yeah, I know. It's
And
really
I'd
fucking
say
annoying.
I know, I feel like I totally get this. Is some of the like shit I like decisions I could just do. Again, growing up, I think again out of survival because I didn't think of the future. I couldn't do future thinking because I was just like
Oh, I
in
never
my
thought about the future.
exactly. And that's what happens where it's like, so you're just making everyday decisions. And sometimes when you're living like that, that uh opens the
I
space
did
for
have a sense
bolder
that
decisions.
I I did have a sense that that there was um like a thing I was supposed to do, or like
Hmm.
a place I was supposed to be. Like I think I was really driven by like finding my place,
Mm.
and I really deeply believed in that, and I knew I wasn't there. So I do in
Where
some
did
way
you
that's
find your
future.
place?
I don't know that I ever totally have. I think I came close when I was in my 20s in San Francisco, but that is a thing that isn't real anymore. But I came close to it. I don't know that I have.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think I've like become sort of resigned to the fact that that is sort of a like a lifelong thing, that you should always be looking for that.
I was just gonna say that like maybe there are many places, like maybe yeah, I mean for me,
Mm.
Or that's
given
like a
future
meaning of life question. It's like a bigger,
exactly.
like philosophical. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But when I was young, I was really driven by that, I think.
I mean that sounds like that was like you
Yeah.
keeping yourself alive too. Like I get those things that we like that drove us as kids. I think were matters of survival, and it sounds like that kept you alive and got you where you are now, which is pretty fucking cool to
Yeah.
me.
So when you were coming up, where was where did you find community? Where did you find this sense of safety or care that you were lacking um,
At home.
at home? I can't
Mm.
imagine that it was easy on the street, And I use the
It really
term
wasn't.
home loosely. Yeah, right.
Well, in Chicago, I think I didn't, and I think I was young enough that I wasn't. I didn't have,
Hmm.
and I didn't have any. Nobody taught me fear, so I didn't have like I didn't have
Hmm.
like the debilitating fear an adult person has, like I do now. But I didn't have that when I was a teen.
Hmm.
So it was. I don't think I found any sense of real home in Chicago, or comfort in anybody else. I
Hmm.
honestly felt the most comfort in my life when I was leaving somewhere.
Mhm.
Um, that's when I felt the most comfort, is when I was alone, driving. That's it. But I did find it in San Francisco to a certain extent. I don't like to categorize it now because it was false, but it I did feel like yeah, some sense of like safety and community there for sure.
What was it in San Francisco that gave you that, even though you might now categorize it as false?
Um, it was just a large community of people, a lot of friends, like a lot of
Mm.
kind of social power.
Mm,
And it was the time too. Like it was really easy to make money. It was
mm,
I love that. I loved that city so much. And
mm,
yeah, it was like it was a community, but it was I was coming from, you know, like gang mentality kind of expectations of what loyalty means. And
mm.
the people that I was
Mm.
surrounded by in San Francisco were not that. And so I was, you know, woefully disappointed when, you
Did
know,
you
things
learn the
got
gang
difficult.
mentality thing in Chicago, or was that from home?
Yeah, in Chicago. Yeah.
Mhm.
Though, I mean, those were the
And then
people
you
that I was
brought that,
around.
you know, yeah, but that gang mentality, it weaves itself through like all of counterculture, because
Sort
what
of,
is it
but
that we
not
mean
really.
by like gang mentality?
When I say gang
Well,
mentality, it's
yeah,
when you
yeah,
don't have a
Yeah, I would love. Can we
it's when
define
you
this?
don't have
Yeah.
it's when you don't have a family and you create one and the stakes are high, they're life and death. And when you move into a counterculture in a place like San Francisco where you're dealing with people that are from upper middle class backgrounds, they don't fucking have your back in the same way. Like it's not, they
Mm,
don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a different, like they may think they ascribe to those um,
yeah, I
you
do,
know, like
I
mhm,
do.
self-policing, loyal, but it's bullshit. And depending on who's running it, it's usually men, and
mhm,
it's usually like chauvinistic, and even if it pretends not to be, in my
mhm.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been my experience too. So, like
Yeah.
inside of these defiant counterculture circles, there's always this culture of like accepting the status quo, or accepting the leader, or following in some way.
Hmm. And
Well, I
accepting
think
your
this is.
place within it.
Yeah, I think this is why for me Defiance, I actually don't like it being tied to counterculture, because yeah, once started trying to find my people, I mean, like when I started coming out as queer, and especially when I started exploring my gender as like in queer communities, I found similar rigidity as like, the fucking cis heteropatriarchy that I was like going against. So it's,
100%.
Mm.
yeah, so I think it's like, for me, defiance isn't defined. It's yeah. I don't like it being attached to a certain sect of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think defiance is useful
Yeah.
when you use it to separate yourself from society so you can go through an individuation process and figure out
Hmm.
who the fuck you are
Hmm.
without any outside influence. And I really think
Hmm.
everybody should do that. Everybody should do that, ideally.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're talking about just like it's like the questioning our assumptions, thinking about the things we think are a given, and like yeah, again, if you're going swinging from one side to the other, what like the other side came from the other thing. So of yeah, I like what you're saying about the individuation and that being like a place of exploration for us.
Hmm.
Yeah, I find it interesting that Diana and you both came from kind of a broken childhood. I use the
I
term
mean, so
broken very
many people
sensitively. I
do.
mean broken in, yeah, yeah. But to alter that, I wouldn't say that I kind of feel like I had a very great
Yeah, but
childhood in
you're
a lot of
very
ways.
rare. You're a rare bird. You're
Yeah.
the only person I've ever known that's had anything close to a normal upbringing. It's not the norm.
Mhm.
Like out in the, in the world.
Yeah,
You know
I
that.
I just wanted to clarify that I don't feel like the defiance that I was talking about earlier is is necessarily something that I decided on. It's that I was resentful that the world that they were posing, the world that they were promising me was a total fucking lie, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe in a way, like I tried to call them out on it. And I realized maybe in a similar type of way as I'm talking through it, like I just didn't trust them. And to be in the world, to actually be in the world as it is, I had to look out for myself. I had to
Mhm.
start over and reassess everything from scratch, not bring anything that I was taught into it, and kind of
Yeah.
I've heard people say unlearn, but I don't feel like it was unlearning for me. It was very easy for me to just like let all of that other stuff go. Okay,
Mhm.
if they were lying about this, and they were lying about this, and they were lying about this, then it would suppose that they were probably lying about everything. So as opposed to taking it personally, just figure it out. You and
Well, and it's not
also
that
as
they
an
were
empathetic
lying,
person.
but it's just that no other person can tell you how to be, period. Like never, ever, ever, you know?
That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
Nobody outside of yourself knows what's right for you, period. Ever,
Yeah. Yeah.
ever. Like ever.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, and now we're talking more philosophical. Forgive me, but I was speaking like the direct, objective universe. Like, what is safe? Why is it safe? Why are the rules there? Nobody tells you why the rules. They tell you the rules, right?
Well, you got told the
And
rules.
that
Some of us get
once
told the rules.
okay, but roll with me on this. What I'm saying is it was like the world was written in shorthand, and there was plenty of complexity and nuance in between
But
all
nobody was
of the
going to
shorthand.
understand. Right. But nobody was going
And I
to.
saw so clearly what they were doing here, right? I see. You're making it easy on me and everybody else. If we just kind of do the thing, and and that's gonna work. And okay. But I resented it because I felt like I was asking direct questions, and they were
Right. They
gaslighting
were
me.
unwilling to
I
explain.
don't know if I'm
But
using the word
but
properly, but
you're
I
not.
think I am.
But
Do you know what I mean?
I don't think you are. But I will tell you that that's like the wrong focus because it isn't about what it isn't about what people are telling you. It is about like like resenting it as it's about who the fuck am I? What do I actually think? And 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 that's it. That's it.
Well,
Nothing else
that's what I'm
matters.
saying. That's what I'm saying is that therein lies maybe like the genetic sequence or whatever it is that I was born into. I could not escape the fact that I couldn't lose interest over the nuance, over the in between all of the points, all of the shorthand. I wanted the
Right, of
entire
course,
thing,
it's normal.
and I
Right.
couldn't
And that's for
not
you
see it,
to
and I
figure out.
couldn't not notice it. And okay, so yeah, sure. That's how I need to live. And you're right. Actually, you're right. As a
I
youth,
know.
I I I okay, Madeline. As a youth, I definitely remember um wanting to once I figured it out, I wanted everybody to know about it, especially the people who didn't think that I was right, you know? And
So weird.
now I realize it serves its own purpose for them to be there and for me to
Well,
be
it
over
doesn't
here,
matter
for me to
who
be
the
able
fuck
to
cares.
predict their behavior.
Who cares what
Well,
anybody
because I
else
got to
says?
live.
It's like irrelevant. It's so
Well,
irrelevant.
do you
Like,
live in a cave? Do you live in a cave, Madeline? Because we have to exist in the universe. I have to be able
well,
to
I will
predict
admit
my
that that is
day
a hard
in a
thing.
certain way.
It is a hard thing for me to exist in the world. I will admit that 100%.
Right.
Fair. Fair.
But I am so grateful that I don't have to hold anybody else's opinions or like besides people that are like very close to me. Um, I don't have to consider it because it's fucking irrelevant.
Yeah, but don't you think that that's dangerous?
I think it's true. So it doesn't. I don't necessarily. No, I don't think it's dangerous. Actually,
What is your definition of true?
I don't know. How do you define true? Um,
Or
Well, what I mean is
dangerous.
that
Or I feel
are
like
you
y'all are in like real watery,
no,
like
no, I mean truth. Are you talking about an objective truth or are you talking about a subjective truth?
in accordance with fact or reality, accurate or exact. Um, in accordance with my
Thank
lived
you.
experience. And in fact, I think it's the opposite of dangerous. I think it is dangerous to trust somebody else's like you're saying shorthand for life because it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Okay. I see what you mean.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
see what you mean.
Good.
Hmm.
That was cute. That was nice.
Well, that's a very interesting call, Madeline. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say
Yeah, I'm
to
so
us
glad that
or
you called
to
in.
the
This was
audience?
really great.
Yeah.
Um, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I'm done.
I think that you have a podcast, don't you?
I do, but we don't have to do that if you don't want to.
well, you're, we would if you'd like to plug your podcast, please do.
I don't really want to. I feel weird doing it.
Okay, well then we could do it for you. Cause it's cool.
Madeline, is that okay, Madeline?
But yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want to
that
do
is
it
my
like
name.
without your consent. So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, I consent.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Great.
Um, so Madeline has a podcast called Window Dressing. You can find it on all of the major things, Spotify, and it's a fascinating podcast. Yeah, I encourage all of our audience to go check it out. Madeline, thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, I really appreciate you calling in, Madeline. This was really great.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, that was a great call.
That was
That was a fantastic
delightful.
call.
That was really great.
Yeah. Interesting people. Interesting
We got some
people to
interesting
converse with.
people.
Yeah. You know, I imagine that there's got to be some more interesting people out there. So, what I'd
Probably.
like for you to do, if you are a particular person out in our viewing audience right now and you haven't called before, call now 712-345 on it. In the meantime, Chris, why don't
Oh, can we
we
do one of the
play?
commercials? Can we, Chris,
Do it.
please? Can we do one of those really fun Canadian commercials, please? And then something else after that because I need a longer break. Okay, I'm gonna keep doing this until it happens because live TV, baby.
I am Astar, a robot. I can put my arm back on. You can't. So play safe.
TV sucks the brain right out of the skull. So, next seminar, we'll probe the content of television.
Professor McClure,
Well, of course, the content of television is movies, but the message of television is what it does to us, the users.
Are you saying that the medium is more important than the message it carries?
No. The medium is not more important than the message. It's obvious. The medium is the message.
The medium is the message. What does that mean?
Well, of course, the medium is the message. It's what I...
Full of great ideas.
Like print changed the shape of the world,
People don't read newspapers, they get into them like a warm bath.
This Canadian changed the way the world thinks about communications.
Is the message, then the content must be the audience. And of course, electronic information is turning the world into a global village. Take light bulbs, they're an information medium. They...
Something's wrong. There's something here that doesn't last too long.
Hi, welcome back. Mallory, we've had a great show so far. Some great
Yeah,
callers.
2
We
really
want
great
more.
calls.
Call us.
Really great calls. Diana, Madeline, thank you so much.
Speaking of, I could give us a little ditty. Call 712-345 on it. There we go. That wasn't too bad.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, great. Speaking of our phone number, we have a new thing. You can go on our Instagram page, and there's a link there, and it's going to send you to someplace where you can download
Someplace.
this.
It's a Google Drive link.
It's a Google Drive link. And do you see this? Look at how cool this is.
That's a real
Mallory
life
made this.
flyer. I did make it.
That's a real life flyer. And what we're asking our listening audience to do is to take this flyer and,
Mhm.
like I did, right down here, and I put my scissors someplace.
Oh,
But
no.
you, you print this off at your local Kinko's copies, and then cut it like this, and then you post it in your coffee shop or your punk house
Or, like,
or your
telephone
Perkins.
poles, like, in the
Oh yeah, telephone
neighborhood.
poles,
Is that a thing? Telephone pole? That feels like the wrong
libraries,
word.
any place that there's a bulletin board. You
Or
want to
just the
post this up
surface.
and leave little tabs for people to take the phone number so they can remember to call us on Saturdays. And
Okay, but Craig, can I say
we're asking
something?
you.
Can I just say
Yeah,
something?
go ahead.
Because I just I really envisioned, and I think this will speak to some people. I put this like with no background color because I for those of us who are old enough, we know the sort of like Xerox, like guerrilla marketing flyer shit that be printed on a very specific palette of like pastel colors, and it's like a blue, green, yellow, and pink. So if you know what I'm talking about, please print it on one of those uh colors of paper. That's ideal. But or just white paper is fine too. Thank you.
And the point. Excuse me.
We're coughing
Oh
tonight.
my gosh.
I'm coughing tonight
Oh
too.
my gosh. Forgive me. Uh, and the point is that we want, you to be involved with building this community, and we have this vision that you and us and we would be compelled to pull a paper tab and call the number sight unseen. So here it is. It's a cool flyer. Go to our Instagram page, go to the link that you find there, and download this thing and print it off and get some more callers. And while we're at it, why don't you call
Yeah.
712-345 on it? We want to hear from you in the middle of the night. We're talking about Defiance today. We spoke to Diana.
Mhm.
We spoke to Madeline.
Madeline.
Both interesting calls. And what
Mhm.
I thought was interesting, and I think I brought it up, was that um, it felt like their defiance was born out of this protective mechanism,
Yeah.
right? They needed to protect themselves.
Yeah.
You said that you identified with that.
Yeah.
Talk to me about it.
Oh. 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 Damn, I really thought you were going to go on a whole thing for yourself, but you were just teeing me up. Okay, Craig.
Oh no, it's your show too.
um oh boy. Well, yeah, I think I relate to Diana and Madeline a lot in sort of not seeing the ways that I moved growing up, and even, until recently, as being like intentionally defiant because I was just like following my like gut and intuition and survival instincts. And especially as a kid, it was like protection. which was certainly seen as uh defiant by the adults around me.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but I never really related to that again because I, especially growing up, I had like even my family had like defiance as like they had like a group of people in their brain, and that was the like punks. I mean, yeah couldn't listen to
Yeah. Okay.
like certain music because of again, I think when we're talking about like counterculture, like my parents were in tune to whatever counterculture meant to them. Um,
So what they banned punk rock?
kind of. Yeah, I
Okay.
wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons or Friends.
Whoa, I knew some kids that weren't allowed to listen to The Simpsons, and they were weird. They had a weird sense of humor, you know? They didn't Did you do that's okay, anyway,
Well, no,
please go on.
well, I think okay, so I want to share, but also like I think having sort of prompts for sharing. So I'm like your thoughts around like yeah, I get that I wasn't allowed to watch. I mean, Friends is a very specific thing that uh actually I have a great story. My sister, so she's 3 years older
Friends.
than me. I know. How bonkers is that? How bonkers is that? Well, it's because my dad is extraordinarily homophobic and sexphobic. And Friends has suggestions of sex sometimes. Um and I remember my sister is 3 years older than me, and her English teacher, which I think this is a really great strategy, had like gave the class as homework, like watch this episode of Friends and we'll compare it to whatever we're reading. And so my sister came home that weekend. I'll never forget this. I was always like watching her because she was like way more outwardly defiant than I ever was, which is actually really relevant and important in here that I like I got to, I had more like rain, I think, because she was the bad one, the defiant one. And so anything I did was never really saw as defiant, but also I was like just afraid to do anything wrong. Anyways, she came home and like told my parents
So
this, and
what do
my
you mean by she was defiant? She watched The Simpsons?
yeah, she was badass. Well, she started drinking younger and
Oh, okay.
just like at a, I mean, no,
Harder
but
than The Simpsons.
well, but like in a normal way, like in a very regular, like she was like a
I
normal
get it.
teen in
I
that
get it.
way, but like again, yeah, high
Mhm.
standards from parents. And so like she was the like, you know, uh uh, the like counterculture one. But anyways, yeah, so that meant
Mhm.
that my parents often didn't sort of believe her sometimes. So when she came home and said, my English teacher, I have to watch Friends for homework, my dad didn't believe her and he called her English teacher to make sure that this was real. And this English teacher, I had her later and she was this like badass, like British,
Imagine the
like
risk that you'd have to go through to watch Friends, like I would love to ask your sister, like, how she felt afterwards, like, was it worth it? Was it worth it? What episode? What episode? Just pick a
I wish
random
I
episode
knew
and
the
you're willing
episode.
to
Yeah.
yeah.
I wish
I
I
mean,
knew
I've
the
not
episode.
I
Oh, maybe
yeah,
I'll ask her. She might be able to remember because again, it was like we would
I'd
sneak
love
watch
to
it in
know.
the
If
basement
you're Mallory's
sometimes.
sister, call in.
Aaron. Um but yeah, anyways, yeah, so my dad called her English teacher, and again, this was like she gave like BBC radio energy, like which is like so authoritative. And I had her as an English teacher, and I love imagining like her putting my dad in his fucking place because I feel like that might have been one of the first times where he like where she I there's no question to me that she was able to tell him like this is educational. And also she was probably like, what the fuck, you don't let your kids watch Friends, like, huh? um
Mm, mm. Yeah, I
so
wonder what oh, that would be weird. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be so weird nowadays, but I wonder how a teacher handles that when a parent calls like that and you're like, because okay, now I'm like a teacher, I'm like an old teacher now, so like I get a call and somebody's like, you can't you are you asking my kid to watch Friends, and I suss out, and then I'm thinking to myself, should I lie for this kid?
Ooh, good point.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, good point. She did not think of that. Yeah, no.
Hmm.
No, great point. But also, it was a private school, really small school. So I imagine she was real used to
Oh
this
yeah.
kind of but again, this was like the
Mhm.
first and only time that I think either my sister or I experienced my dad caring about school ever, which is saying a lot too. So.
Yeah, that's weird.
So
That's
again,
very
I think when
weird.
we're talking about defiance, that it wasn't hard. Like I didn't have to do much to be defiant because of how like rigid it was. Like it wasn't. I didn't ever feel
Mhm.
like I was going against. I was just how rigid it was.
Mhm.
Anything was defiant. Like me being silly sometimes was going against sort of decorum. So like me
What's one of those
like
situations?
giggling too much or doing voices. I like to do voices when I was little, and I remember my dad like being like, "Don't be silly. That's not like no one wants to hear that." So, again, it's me being like defiant in my family. It just because of how strict and rigid and bounded it was. Like it's not the same as how you were defiant or counterculture, because me being counterculture in my family was just literally like being myself, gently being myself.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was being myself as well. It just yeah, but I
But I'm like, and again, this is
you
why
know.
it's taken me to 37 to begin this gender journey I'm on, because like I had to
Mm,
you like it took this long for me, like like how confined it started. Like that's how long it has taken me to just be at the beginning of like learning who I am.
okay. Wow. That's pretty incredible to like be coming into yourself at this age. Although maybe I do too, in a way. Maybe I'm coming into myself.
How so,
I'm
Craig?
coming in. I don't
What
know.
the
I mean, it's
way?
more
No?
interesting. So what when I was speaking earlier about infinite coals
Mm,
and
mm.
how this like idea of defiance to his very famous
Father.
dad, who was at the time when I was a kid, there was nothing more defiant than the Wu-Tang Clan,
Yeah.
right? And then now his son is taking on this persona that is defiant for today, and
Mhm.
even his dad doesn't get it.
I think
You know what I mean?
and I think that's
How do you feel
so
about that?
I mean, I'm deeply moved by it, and again, I was like when I first saw that video, I was like, "Oh, I so relate to the child of Ghostface Killer." I'm like, "This is not." I'm like, a real white person, grew up in very different contexts, but in terms of the generational thing,
Mhm.
you know, mm, uh a lot to say about my dad. I think, that is painful and bad. And also, he did have an intention to raise two people who are assigned female at birth and expected to be girls as like feminist as
Mhm.
he saw in his eyes. And
Mhm.
it's, I mean, I think a testament to all the work I've done that I can hold this level of like complexity and nuance and not be so angry about this, because I do think he was doing his best to do that, but his idea of feminism was so limited and also still pretty like rigid and through his like, oh, but you can only be powerful in very certain ways. And that's like,
Hmm.
this is a thing I say where it's like, girls can do anything, but make sure you're treated like a princess. And like, that is like the most confusing, confounding, like broken, fucked up message to give a little girl. But I also,
Mm-hmm.
he, you know, I, oof, there were parts of him that I think were doing his best and defying, how he grew up. And yeah, so I
Mm-hmm.
think as far as, um, this, I can't remember their name. Um, the Ghostface Killer's son that I can't remember the name of right
Infinite
now.
Coals.
Thank you,
Infinite
Infinite
Coals.
Coals. I think thinking generationally and like what defiance looks like is like thinking how that works in relationship is really important. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I think my dad did influence me in ways in like making sure that I like, I can change oil in a car. I can throw a football. Those were his ideas of like bringing up a feminist girl. It's like you can throw a football and
Mm-hmm.
change the oil in your car, which is, he taught me those things. I don't want to discard that. And also for me, it felt like really rigid and limiting given I never felt like a girl. And it necessarily, that kind of feminism necessarily positions men as like uh predators and women as victims. And that was that's the message of like, you can do anything but make sure you're treated like a princess. He saw every person I dated who was a man as threatening. And so, and it's just like in defiance in all ways, like it's really complicated. And so I think the way that I uh am living now feels quite defiant to, I mean, I know before he died, oh gosh, still talking as if he's alive. Um yeah, felt defiant to him and actually was defiant towards him in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um but he also kind of taught me to do that. So
Hmm. I see what you're saying. That's very interesting. Well, Mallory, I know that we're up against midnight, and then I think that we have a call lined up. So, Chris, why don't you take us to midnight in the Mountain Time Zone? And then we're going to come back for our last hour with our loving audience. Call now while we're away, 712-345 on it. And caller, I know you're on the line. We'll be right back with you after this break.
As everyone knows, rainbows usually have a treasure at the end. Let's follow this one and see if we can find the pot of gold.
Ah, there, and I suppose you've come to claim me treasure.
Well, we'd like to see the gold first.
Faith in there's better than gold in here, me lad. No, just look here, no.
Candy, refreshing soft drinks, popcorn, ice cream. Well, that's some treasure, but anyone can buy luscious treats like these at the snack bar.
You don't tell me. Do you suppose you could get me a job as a snack bar attendant?
From Calgary to Carlsbad, Missoula to Mazatlan, it's midnight in the Mountain Time Zone.
I never really noticed how big the Mountain Time Zone was. It's like very big, and actually like the best shape. If you were going to eat a piece of pizza pie, you'd want it to be the shape of um you'd want it to be the shape of the Mountain Time Zone as opposed to the others. Your toppings would fall off the others. I think that we have a call. Caller, are you on the line?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Who is this?
caller. Hello, and who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Sam again from Seattle.
Oh, hey,
Hi.
Sam. Hey, Sam from
Hey.
Seattle. How are you? How are you tonight? Thank you for calling.
Thanks for calling.
Oh, I'm feeling great. Yeah, it's nice to be back with y'all.
It's great to have you. So, what brings you to our show tonight? What do you want to talk about with us and our audience?
Well, sounds like Defiance is a topic of the evening.
How'd you guess?
That's it.
I mean, if I had to pick a subject.
So
what does defiance mean to you, Sam?
I could talk about some Defiance of the past week or so.
Yeah, I would love to hear about the defiances of the past week, whatever that is.
Cool.
Give me.
Oh, I was gonna write a list real quick with my pen so I can remember.
Oh, great.
Okay.
we'll play some list music. That's great.
Yeah. Give me a minute here.
Yeah. I
There's
forgot. Chris, cue the list music, which I know we don't have right now, so I'm just gonna
Get
list
on that,
music.
Chris.
This is the list music. We are making some music for the list that our guest is gonna make for us. It's coming to the end of the list music right
The
now.
song is too good. I'm listening to
And
that
now.
instead of making the list.
Oh no.
We need more
Be
music.
defiant, Sam. Write the list instead of list.
I swear to God, I should have been a jingle maker. I
You
should have
really
been a
yeah,
jingle
you know
maker.
what, Craig? Yeah, you did miss out on that career.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, it's not
Well,
too
the
late.
world missed out on it.
It's not too late.
No, I'm over it. I do a television show now. Sam, yeah, what I'm dying to know your list of defiances over the past week, and I know our audience is as well.
Yeah, still writing some. All right, I've written down 6.
Amazing.
Okay,
great. Let's start with the top.
Okay. Oh, so we're all ready now? Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll go from here. So something that I have been bringing more into my focus of practices is prisoner support, sending books to prisoners. That's one that's been interesting.
Good one.
Okay, yeah. So
2,
you're gonna read us the bullet point, and then we can choose one to dive into. Is that what's about to happen?
That
'Cause I would
sounds
love
great. Yeah.
That sounds great to
Brilliant.
me too. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Playing a concert at a anarchist park thing today.
Okay.
3, attending and schmoozing at a vegan community dinner, food pantry thingy. 4, I went to the vegan metal bar and sat there with my books out and gave them away to people. Was in Delaware, Maryland, poultry land, and left some books in little free libraries there to try to, I don't know. And then
Spread the
cooking
word.
vegan dinners for family.
You're a real activist now.
Well, I mean, let's see how many changes happen.
Would you define yourself as that? I don't mean to put you in a box, but you know what I mean? Would you call yourself an activist?
Yeah. Okay, here's a question to throw back at you. What do you think can be some strategies of the agitator rather than the activist? I will throw that question to y'all.
Ooh.
Strategies of the agitator
Ooh.
as opposed to the activist.
Sam, this kind of question.
That's a
I
great
mean,
question.
it's great. And also like, I mean, it's using specific language. I'm like, I hear you. I love the idea of like, how we agitate instead of being an activist. And I'm like, now this just makes me want to hear your thoughts on it. But if Craig has any immediate answers.
Yeah, let me answer your question. First of all, it's abstract for me. It's out of my scope of perspective. I don't consider myself an agitator, and I don't consider myself an activist. I consider myself a wallflower, not the Bob Dylan's son wallflower, but
Oh yeah,
more
one
like
headlight, maybe.
just the guy that's watching. Yeah, one headlight, not the one headlight. Um,
You got your high views
so
on.
if I'm I got my exactly, you know it. So if I'm if I'm prefacing that I don't really understand what maybe the best version of the agitator is, I imagine an
Or like
agitator
examples,
being kind of like a hacker,
examples of
like I'm sorry?
like who might be some examples that come to our minds.
Hmm. An
Like
agitator.
Rosa Parks.
Joan of Arc, Rosa Parks, James Baldwin. Yeah. So I guess what I'm kind of defining here is like defiance from within. You know what I mean? Like gaining at the very least becoming a respected dissenter. Does that make sense?
That might be one version of it. I don't think you have to be respected to be
Yeah. I'm
an
not I'm
activist.
not I'm not totally confirmed on that yet. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Well, Sam, I'm curious, like your again, given like that you came up with a very specific question, like, and when Craig asked you if you're an activist, you're like, yeah, I guess so. Okay, I would love to hear how you differentiate between activist and agitator in your life.
Mhm. I guess in my experience, it's been more like doing things that are like very like surprising to people, that like are unexpected, that like sort of you know uh freeze their windows and like screen starts getting all weird, like shocking type things that not necessarily are like
I've
graphic or
participated in
whatever.
things like that too.
Not necessarily
Yeah.
in what, Sam?
Not necessarily like graphic or like edgy or
Right.
whatever, but just like
Yeah.
breaking their brain a little.
I mean, I hate doing like cliche quotes, but in this conversation, I just keep thinking of the that quote, the like art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the
Hmm.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and I think it's interesting that you're asking this question, or like that we can differentiate between activism and agitation, because I think like the ways that um sort of like respectability politics likes to like box in activism a lot of the time now, where it's like, sure,
Mhm.
do your protest, but just make sure that you ask the city first and like make sure the police are there. Just do it in the right way. It's like, which is like not the point. Like the point of activism is to
Mhm.
agitate and disrupt people's lives. Like that is the point of, you know, um,
Mhm.
for me, like, I mean, not all activism has to be that disruptive, but if we're
Mm.
talking about uh, getting people's attention in that way, it's like a very interesting question.
Yeah, it can have like an
I
outsized
take back
impact.
I take back everything that I said before. I don't think that that's the case. Upon further thought,
Covering the entire episode here
upon
before.
further thought. I'm sorry.
The entire episode up to this point, you're disavowing.
Yeah. I'm
Start
against
from the top.
everything that I said before.
Yeah, those do not
Hi, I'm
represent
Craig
your
Klein.
employer. Yeah.
No, but it is very interesting, and I don't know why I posed the question to you, Sam. Are you an activist? I don't think that I was really thoughtful as to what even that meant.
Hmm.
What do you what do you think? I guess what I meant by that, and I think it was a little dismissive to describe it as such. I knew you not oh I mean we ate matzo ball soup with each other, right? So you weren't always a vegan, and I, your first call you spoke about this book that you've written, and it was fascinating. And the book, the journey that you've been on, is fascinating, and I've been thinking about it a lot. um and then I also recognize that along with music and writing and learning, traveling, which I've always known you to do, this is taking up a lot of space in your life.
It is,
And
yeah.
you're going around to free libraries and you're dropping it off. I mean, this is a very proactive thing that you're doing.
Yeah, and I've actually got
not to
some
be
people
fickle, but
now.
like, what gives?
I've got some people who are gonna be like, I'm gonna like give them some like boxes of them, and then like when they're walking their dog or like doing their little mental health walk, they're gonna start dropping them in libraries too. So
Love that.
if any listeners out there want to help
Yeah, it's
spread
amazing.
animal liberation, Egyptian mythology, email me samuelhenry@gmail.com. I'll send you a
Put
pile
it
of
in
books.
the live chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why? I mean, you know what I've always said? I think I mentioned this on our first episode. If I believed that there was a ghost suddenly, if I saw a ghost, I would spend the rest of my life trying to get to the bottom of it, every waking moment, right?
Mhm.
And it seems like, Sam, like you figured something out. And now you're like, it would be dismissive with this new truth to not spread the word. Now,
Yeah.
the reason why I'm investigating this is because I think I don't know if you were listening to the call before you, but we were kind of speaking about how fuck everybody else. They should do whatever they want. I'll do whatever I want, and they should do whatever they want. I just hope that they stay out of my way. Right? Now,
I was
you are
getting from it like
obviously trying to spread the word.
yeah, I was getting from the previous call like some beings have to be defiant to survive, and others have their like other like needs kind of less at risk, and that like it's impossible to understand the difference.
Sure.
And
Wow.
so
So, Sam, did you have like a turning
Boom.
point? But yeah, again, I heard that's what I heard too. And I also, so I think just to piggyback off of, like Craig bringing up, that you knew each other before you, became, are you vegan? I just want to make sure you're vegan.
I've gone through different like depths of veganism,
Okay.
like, and it's not really a diet, it's more of like a outlook, and
I
it
think
can
that's,
be
yes, right. That's
applied.
why I want to be specific. I don't want to like just use a word. I
Yeah.
want you, and I think more what I'm asking is like, was there like a moment, a turning point, or was it like a series of
There
things?
were a
Was it
few
like
big ones.
can you share one or some with
Yeah.
us?
Yeah. So I live on a houseboat, here in Seattle, and so every spring
Okay.
there's these really cute baby ducks, and I love them and stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually, my brain was like, "Wait, these are like the chickens that you eat," and then
Yeah.
it kind of went from there. Like, well, I love them.
Mhm.
Fair.
etc. Another big
Mhm.
one that kind of freaked me out was in like early COVID lockdown. They were talking about the post office being backed up with like shipments of baby chicks in the mail that had like died of heat death for
Yeah.
supply chain issues in the postal service, and I had no idea that they were shipped
Mhm.
around like that. That was just like a sign of like, whoa,
Mhm.
shit is
Horrifying.
fucky under there. Like, let's
Mhm.
look a little deeper. And then they were like showing them like doing like the ventilation shutdown things on like massive things with pigs because the supply chain had backed up and it wasn't worth killing them in any more gentle way. But they were like now worthless as beings.
Yeah,
Those
that's fucking
are some
heavy.
great ones. Yeah, I remember learning about that in the pandemic too. Yeah, the chicks being sent, and like I did not
Yeah,
know that
that threw
either.
me for
Yeah,
a loop. Yeah,
horrifying.
like what
Yeah,
are we doing?
yeah,
Yeah.
horrifying.
Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, I can imagine that being a very impactful moment for you. So then, what compels you? I mean, I get it. You're trying to save the lives of these innocent creatures. Um, I mean, if I'm to
And like
presume, but
bring down thereby also like elements of and like uh pillars of other oppressive systems.
Because they're all
Mhm.
intertwined, are they
But
not?
Right.
Yeah.
so this is what's maybe fascinating to me. I feel sometimes like why give a fuck about the rest of them? Like they're never gonna be able to live civilly. They'll never they'll never be nice. They'll never be good.
Yeah, but they'll
Who are
be
you
worse
The
talking
most
about?
of them will never be.
resisting them.
Who are the them in this
Yeah, I guess.
situation?
Yeah, they'll be even worse
Hmm.
without your resistance.
Ah, right, right. Yeah, that's a heavy burden to bear. To like to see right through them in a way, but then to feel compelled to like center your world around them in a way by dedicating your energy, your time, your efforts, your book. You wrote a book, you know. What a public service. I mean, I imagine
Yeah,
I
and
fulfill like
like
this desire for that. Oh, go ahead, please.
oh yeah, and like also like really honoring those who have like fought similar like struggles for the animals like in the last the book has like historic elements of those types of
Hmm.
things from like 5,000 years ago um, until about like
Hmm.
2,000 plus years ago or less, and then kind of like inspired
Yeah,
by many between then and now too.
Craig, I'm curious. I just want to rewind a bit because when you say like if there's like a little counter, or you're saying like, oh, like who the them, like don't worry about them, like, because like I don't know if
Mhm.
you're gonna have to help me here, but you were positioning the sort of like, who are you doing this for, and like, can you change their minds? That's what it sort of felt like to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like I was kind of mentioning earlier, there was a time in my life where I felt compelled to like rub everybody's face in the truth or what I found out to be the truth. First, in a way, to kind of compel them to see my side of things rationally or considerately.
Hmm.
And, if they weren't picking up on it, then I would defy them, and I would try to make them understand that they should feel silly for it. in some way. Um, so in a way, um, I'm like trying to change people's minds, and
Mhm.
eventually, it's not that I got tired of that. It's just that I became pretty comfortable with whatever that they were doing. It was so much of a task for me to like convince them of otherwise, right? And I felt more like I needed to find to do for myself, right? As opposed to like figuring something out that the teacher was maybe not being so true about. Instead of telling everybody else in the class, my interest was to like, you know what, I'm going to go to the library and get to the bottom of this for myself. You know? Does that make any sense? And yeah, I think that that's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
think
trying to
that's what
say.
I was trying to where it's like a, I think I mean, Sam, I imagine you felt this a lot of sort of like the exhaustion, the tiredness of, believing in a thing, fighting for a thing and trying to convince people. And it's like there's certain groups of people and certain people where it's like it just feels like nothing happens, or like how am I supposed to engage in the
Hmm.
world that
It's still
believes
kind of fun
things
to
like
fuck
this
with
and are
them.
okay.
I've
Okay,
I've
well
gotten
say more
some
about that.
some I've gotten some kind of like therapeutic like almost like yeah
Okay, well say
relief
something about
or
that, please.
release through like I follow all these like young heifers cattle ranching association things and like feedlot magazine and stuff like that and like all these like cattle conferences and stuff. And I just
Mhm.
like comment on them with like these like questions that are like semi innocent. They're like, will there be discussions of lab grown meat? And then they like start to engage and I just like keep asking them questions and just like fuck with them a little bit or like call them groomers when they're like teaching their like baby how to lasso
Ooh, I
cows and
like
shit
that.
and just like throw groomers at them and do like what would Jesus do, like good shepherd stuff at them.
Mhm.
It
Hell
pretty
yeah.
much often turns into them telling me that I'm not a real man and stuff like that. It's great.
Well, I think I'm so glad we got here because I think this is something given I was just talking about my family where it's like I wish I could take I don't want to associate with anybody that feels too hard, but I'm like, how do you be in the world and not like be in a relationship with people who disagree with you, especially if you were born into a family that is so opposed to everything of my being, so I feel like I'm constantly grappling with this like
Mhm.
I kind of want to talk to them, but I don't. But how do I be in a relationship with them in a way that doesn't feel like I'm like excluding myself? And so I think I'm always trying to figure out ways where, and a lot of it actually is through humor. Like that's the way that I feel like I
Mm.
get to be myself. And also like it like humor is often really disarming too,
Mhm.
because it's if
Mhm.
they don't feel like I'm like, "You are a bigot, you are," and I'm making, like, little jokes at them, then it's easier for them to hear those challenges, So, I
Mhm.
love what you're talking about of sort of, like, gently trolling these communities.
So so
Yeah,
that's
yeah, just fucking with
interesting.
them.
bec-
Yeah.
Do you think that a lot of times defiance starts as a joke?
I don't know if I would say what starts as a joke, but I think jokes are
Okay.
necessary.
Do you think that yeah, well, and what I'm saying is that it seems like a pretty effective way of like agitation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
But
the
also
jester or like the
to
buffoon, the
Yes.
fool.
right.
Yes. The fool.
Right.
Yes.
Uh, but it seems like mm, okay, let me paint like a couple pictures. Like something like if somebody um is afraid of maybe coming out, let's say, right? They're intimidated to come out. because they think that they might be gay. They might come around their friends and joke around about being gay and like see the temperature of the room. And
Hmm.
so you see what I'm saying? Like it feels like there is like this gesture of truth that is
Yes.
hidden inside of a joke that will
Yeah.
then somehow let them out of their shell because now it's out in the open, you know. In a way, this is like part of the therapy we imagine about people being able to come on here and speak to an audience of many, you know. Like once you've said it out loud to an audience, it's kind of hard to be, you know, embarrassed by the thing anymore, you know.
Well, I mean, it depends on the
It's because then
audience.
it's over. Well, but what I'm saying is that the embarrassment is over at that point,
Yeah, I get, but I
right?
hear you, and I
Like
think
whatever it was is out.
yeah, and I think what you're saying is like that. Yeah, I did, Sam. I love you bringing in this or like the jester, the fool, because this is like historically, a thing. Like the Joker is the one who tells the truth. Like this is a part
Hmm.
of our culture. Like this is a thing that like we have all kind of like learned to do, and it is a way, as you're saying, Craig. That I think we test the waters, dip our toes in. It's like, ooh, if I make a little joke about this
Hmm.
thing, like maybe I'm this. That's a way of testing the water. I know I've done that a lot in my life. So yeah, I think that like
Hmm.
uh jokes and humor and um like subtleties, reading between the lines. I think those are a really important part of like communicating and
Hmm.
defiance
And survival.
and survival. Oh yeah, survival deeply. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Survival.
Yeah.
Survival.
So is
There it
defiance, I think
is.
I think this is like again, I feel this is a big thing that keeps coming back is like this tie between defiance and survival.
Are you still there,
Yeah.
Sam? Okay, great. I'm sorry. I heard something. I thought we lost you. Um, yeah, that's so. I really, so. What has been the reception? Has anybody resisted more than just calling you less than a man
Yeah.
or
I've
whatever?
actually found some like
They think.
blind spots. I've found some blind spots in my knowledge of like, oh damn, I really actually don't know how this process happens or what these terms
I
mean. And
love
so
that.
I got smarter in the process by
Mm-hmm.
being like called out backwards, which was helpful.
I love
And now,
that.
it's like a little hardened now. Um, I've also
Yeah,
occasionally seen
I
like
do.
other activists on there, like also trolling some of these as well. And that's like really like uplifting to be like, I see you and give them that little
Mhm.
heart.
You're finding your people there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I also just really appreciate, again, you saying that it's like, I think taking risks in sort of putting ourselves out there is necessary for us to learn, but like I think sometimes it's so scary because we're expected to just like whatever we say should be right always and like we should know everything always, but like we need to be able to
Yeah.
fuck up publicly to
Yeah.
learn more. And I love that, like what you just said, that like you said some things that it sounds like people responded to you and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Like that kind of like public growth and making mistakes
Hmm.
and just like trying out things is so necessary, but is, I think,
Hmm.
pretty hard to do.
Yeah. Honing skills and arguments and seeing patterns.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, I think it's pretty exciting what you're doing. I
Yeah.
find it very interesting,
Me too.
and I really appreciate you calling in. We have another call that we want to get
Awesome.
to before the hour is up. So Sam, we have to let you go, but we are working. We've got a little something special in the mix for the future. Um, some things that I'm very excited about, but I'm not going to let out of the bag. But Sam, you know about them and you're involved. So stay tuned, Sam. We know that you will be there, and
Yeah.
I love you. Thank you
Thanks,
so much for
Sam.
calling in again.
Yeah, it's great to be here with the entire community of members of this little thing again tonight.
So nice.
Great. And hey, I know you're into flyers. We got that flyer. Print it off, man.
Print it
Hanging
off,
around
man.
Seattle.
Okay.
We need some Washingtonians or whatever, you know. I'll send you the PDF. All
But wait,
right, Sam. Thank
speaking
you so
of,
much.
yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
thank you, Sam. Sorry, I don't. Thanks, Sam. Just exciting things. I just want to remind everybody that like about our new number again. I keep remembering like not everybody has been watching us, so we have a number 712-345 on it 712-345-6648. We are because we're not trying to be American centric here. We are attempting to figure out a thing so that people outside of the United States can call in without it costing y'all. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we are working on a toll-free number.
Mm-hmm. And also just know that like you can call it anytime. It doesn't have to be when we're live. You can leave a voicemail and we would love to hear voicemails. Also, producer Chris has worked so hard on like the voice messages. Like you'll hear really fun things when you call our numbers. So you're gonna want to call it. And so we have a caller, but I think before we go to that, could we I think it might be good to like do a little palate cleanser, as we like to say, like a commercial or a video. I don't know, producer Chris, trust you to just do a fun thing. So let's do that and then we'll go to our caller. Live TV.
Here's another really new one that isn't quite finished, just for fun. I am on a lonely road and I am traveling, looking for the truth in men and in me. Oh, my jealousy, my greed, they all unravel me. It undoes all the joy that could be. Oh, you're not real, no, no. Do you think you're fooling me with these false pretensions of phony camaraderie? All I really, really wanted love to do was to bring out the best in me and in you too. All I really, really wanted love to do was to bring out the best in me and in you too. La, 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 do, 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 do. I am on a lonely road and I am traveling, looking for the truth in men and in me. Oh, my jealousy, My greed is my unraveling. Oh, it undoes all the joy that could be. Oh, but you're not real. No, no. Do you think you're fooling me? With your phony camaraderie. All I really wanted love to do was to bring out the best in me and in you too. All I really wanted love to do was to bring out the best in me and in you.
Oh boy, Joni Mitchell.
Can't beat Joni
Come
Mitchell. You
on.
cannot beat Joni Mitchell. We have a caller on the line.
Hell
So
yeah.
let's go to the call. We've got about 23 minutes left in the show.
Oh no.
Caller.
Hello?
Hello, caller. Hi.
Yes.
How you doing?
Who is
I'm
this?
doing very well.
My name's Billy.
Hi, Billy.
Hey, Billy. How's it going, man? You
Going
haven't
great.
called
How's
in
it going?
before, have you?
No, this is my first time. I'm sitting in a hotel, and I was scrolling on YouTube, looking at live streams, and I saw you guys. And I have an active Defiance that I did today that I thought would be fun to share.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much, Billy. Go right
Thank you
into
for
it, please.
calling, Billy.
So I live with my brother. He's a lot older than me. He's 20 years older than me. I've been living with him my whole life. I'm 20. And he says to me today, he's like telling me that I need to get a job. And so we start arguing. He is on and off in a job all the time. He didn't have a job for 6 months, and I had to pick up a job. So now I don't have one because I'm going back to college, and he's telling me that I need to do both, which I cannot juggle around because it's either I'm in college or I'm doing a job.
Fair.
So we start arguing. And pretty much now I'm in a hotel, and I'm looking at this bitch with the fucking green on. You look like a pussy, bro.
Ooh, that was a twist.
Oh, wait. I just realized something. I think he's talking about me.
Well,
I think
wait, I
I'm the
mean,
bitch
I got
with
there
the green
faster
on.
than you did.
Yeah,
Billy, you still there?
that was no, I think that Billy
Fair.
hung up.
Fair.
Yeah, Billy didn't have much more to say after that. He wanted to mic drop. I
Boy.
expect better out of you, Billy.
That was, I guess we're getting real meta
Oh,
here. So we had a
wait a
caller being
second.
defiant towards us. Was that the point?
I see now. He was
Do you know
being
that
defiant
person?
towards
Did you
us.
feel like that felt personal towards you?
No. No, I don't know.
I just wonder if you like recognize the
not at
voice
all.
in some way. But yeah, hey, thanks for like just that was really on theme. So I guess there's like we're talking about defiance that was defiant towards us.
But see, that's the type of call that we want. I
Is it?
want that. I want that. I want people to find us through streams. I
Oh
want
yeah,
us
I
to
love that,
find
but I
us
also don't believe that
whatever's
that's
going on in
that
live.
I don't believe now that's what happened. That person
All right.
absolutely did not find us that way.
Oh, you don't
I'm
think
sorry.
so?
No, no. I barely believed them when they first said it, but I'm like, I am a forever believe. Like again, this is why I don't like sarcasm because I just like want to
Mm.
believe what people say. So I will go
I
there and
don't think
go.
that anybody. You're right. I think that nobody is named Billy. Who the
that
fuck
was
is
the
named Billy?
that was the first clue. Where is it, Billy? I was like, well, at least it's a pseudonym. Again, we could talk about what through our brains. I was like, okay, a pseudonym, fine, I can roll with that. Hotel room, okay, brother, but yeah, all of the things. I was like, this isn't feeling
Now I'm in a
real. And
hotel
also
room.
finding us
Why do
on
you think?
YouTube, I don't think. I mean, we're
Okay,
cool
I
and fun,
think
but
that
I don't
that's
think they would find
possible.
it. Well,
No, I
sure,
think
but
that that's possible.
I do, but
And then
also
I want to unpack his story. That's what I want. I want to understand where and how he was inventing. If you think that you got a good idea, drop it in the comments. You don't have to
yeah,
call in,
yeah.
but
Let's
tell
talk
me
about
tell
this
me where you
community.
think
Let's
what's
yeah.
going on in his life. And
What's
I
the
think
story of Billy? Let's get to the bottom of it. And why
okay,
is he so mad about
so
Craig?
so I think what I'm curious about, why did he decide um that he was going to be in a hotel? Like now I'm in a hotel. I was fighting with my brother. Okay,
I'm
let's start from the
so
scratch.
glad. I'm so excited. Like, let's fucking
Flash
dissect this.
flash the
Yeah.
number, Chris, because give me anything out of this this idiot.
No, but
But for
I
the
want to
time being,
dissect
let's
this.
just go
Let's
for it.
dissect this.
We're going to. Okay.
Yeah.
So I am Billy and I am hanging out with my brother, and he's like, you better get a job
But none of this
now.
was okay.
Something, hold on.
Sorry. Okay.
Now, I think that let's say that Billy, let's say his real name is Steve. I actually resent even referring to him as Billy
Me
anymore. I
too.
would like to
Yeah, let's give him another name.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
let's give it
Steve.
let's
Steve. I like that.
David.
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 Oh, David
No,
is
I'm
good.
gonna
Yeah,
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 we're
yeah.
gonna do David.
David.
David. Okay, so David. I have a feeling that David has a bit of a financial crisis on his hands in his real
Mm-hmm.
life.
Probably.
I feel like he is in a position right now where he is he's he's experiencing maybe some unemployment. And that unemployment, and maybe his brother is his girlfriend. You think it's his girlfriend?
Yeah, no, yeah, the brother is definitely yeah, like yeah, it's a
Who is it? Who is it in his life?
yeah,
His mom.
or lack
His
thereof.
mom. I don't know. I mean, I okay. So the brother represents something.
The
Then
brother definitely represents
and
something.
now the brother. Oh, Billy's in chat. Okay, I'm getting told by producer Chris had to do it on the live stream. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so I think that
Oh, okay, wait,
Chris,
wait,
tell
wait,
me
wait.
something if
Now we
it's
need to
relevant.
wait because
Okay,
Billy, wait. No, 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 no. We need this. Oh, this is delightful. I love this because Billy is Billy, you're claiming I'm not breaking any Jimmy Plant in the chat. So Billy, Jimmy, okay. But what's your real name? I don't believe it's either of those things. Um B- Jimmy Plant said, "I'm
yeah,
Billy, bruh. Just pranked y'all ass laughing faces."
yeah, but he's not saying anything interesting. I'm gonna
No,
say
I know.
something
No,
more
I know. I just
interesting than
needed
Billy.
I of
Okay,
course. I
so
just
not
needed
Billy,
that included.
not
Yeah.
Jimmy, David is. I have a feeling that David actually is going through something. I I I want
Of
to
course.
know why he's in a hotel, if he's in a hotel, and if he's not in a hotel, why is he fantasizing about being in a hotel?
Hotels are the
What are you
best.
running from, Billy? Yeah,
That was the most
yeah, of
relatable
course.
part
I
of that
know that.
call. Yeah, was like I was like, "Oh, in a hotel. Hell yeah."
And
Yeah.
now I'm in a hotel. What a weird punchline. What a weird detail to put inside of a like a punk.
I now
Or
forget
is that what
how it
it's called?
got to yes. Oh my god, that was adorable.
What?
Sorry, a punk, is that what it's called? That just felt very like,
That's what it's called, right? I think it's called a punk.
you just got punked. Yeah, man.
Anyway,
No, this is
do we have any more? Do we have any more videos that we can go to?
Wait, are we done? Are we done dissecting Billy? Because
Oh no, let's continue to dissect Billy. I would love to actually.
I
What
don't.
what do you have to say about
Well,
it?
I don't. It's a prank call. I had different feelings before this person showed up in the before David showed up in the chat, and I'm just delighted that like, oh, to prank back the pranker. You know, it's like, oh, they thought it was a got us, but like now we just get to make up what this person was trying to do. But also, why do people prank? Why do people do pranks?
Defiance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm all for a good prank. That wasn't a
Me
very good
too.
prank. It wasn't
No,
very
it wasn't.
thoughtful. I think that he was
I
going
mean,
off
we're
the
having a
cuff.
lot of fun right
I
now.
think that he
So
got I think that he got nervous. I think that I'm assuming I think that he got nervous. And he I'm looking at the guy with the green jacket, bitch. I mean, he's obviously talking about me, right?
I don't. Oh.
Cause
Yeah.
what if? Cause this is what I'm saying. What if he was in like a hotel and he was looking out the window and he saw a guy in green and he was like, "Oh fuck, that guy stole my brother," and so he had to get off the phone real quick.
That's probably it. It's probably yeah. It probably had nothing to do with you, because people aren't activated by you ever, and people don't want to like prank you or shit on you ever. I think that you like activate a lot of people, especially men type people, and I think what might have been what that was about.
You think that I activate people?
Dude, this episode is named Defiance, and like we agreed, like you were, yeah. I mean, not in. It's not like you go out. Well, sometimes you might go out of your way, but I think if we're talking about sort of like people where it just is sort of naturally that you as like a man type person
Yeah.
who doesn't subscribe to like cultural ideas of what a man looks like, you do trigger
I
a
was
lot
being
of
naive.
men.
I was being naive. I was being actually. I'm not even naive. I was being. I
I
was
know.
being fake. I was
I
pretending.
know.
I know that I trigger people like David, and yeah, who gives a shit? Hey, Chris,
But we're
do
so
we
happy
have
he called.
a video to cleanse my mental state?
Yeah, let's cleanse David.
Let's cleanse Billy. Diddle-doo, 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 diddle-doo.
Keep a shining in June. Your silvery beams will bring love dreams. We'll be cuddling soon. We'll cuddle soon by the silvery
Sorry I'm late, Saul. I was out with a scar last night.
See you in the morning.
Hey! Hey!
Wise guy.
Hey, hey, hey. Keep your eye on the little bouncing balls. Each little string will make you sing if you follow the tune of the silvery moon. By the light of the silvery moon, I want to spoon. To my honey I'll croon love soon.
La 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 la. Well, David, Billy, Jimmy, thanks for that. I'm seeing the comments on the uh, live YouTube, and while I want to believe that it's not that serious, it's really hard for me to not take pranks seriously. But here we are, Defiance. Here we are.
I think it was cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's
No, I'm not
cool.
saying it wasn't
I
cool.
like pranks.
Yeah.
I invite it all. I think
And then we'll deal with them.
Billy, Jimmy, David, I think you're a cool guy.
For real.
But I want to know why you're in a hotel, or if you're in a hotel, or why you're fantasizing about a hotel. This is so interesting to me because I get it. I sometimes pretend to be in a hotel. Sometimes when I'm in the bath, and I take a lot of baths. I don't know about you, Billy,
This is great.
but but I I I I have a little act of defiance that I'd like to talk about. Often I take a bath at like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday while everybody's at work. And if I have a meeting, I'll take the meeting in the bath. Not in a weird way, in a decent way. Um And I feel like it's kind of a fuck you to the world. It's a fuck you to like how I'm supposed to work, how I'm supposed to spend a day.
Decorum.
Like
The fuck you to
baths are for
decorum.
yeah, yeah. It feels like baths are for like nights or something like that. Not for me. Not for me. I'll take a bath right in the middle of the day. Um, honestly, to spite you, to spite despite uh despite the idea that leisure should happen at night.
That's
That's all I got.
Defiance, man. No, but I actually really
That's all I got.
love I guess I'm like reading the comments. People are talking like don't feed trolls, right? But I actually thinking of Sam's call and Sam talking about like kind of trolling forums where the most fun thing for me is taking a prank seriously, which I think where it's like, okay, that was a prank. Okay, but what was that really about? Like, this is the thing I've loved to do the most is like, oh, that was fun and funny. Okay, but what was it really about? What was that really about? That's what we do here.
Yeah.
What was that really about?
Yeah, we'll take you seriously.
We'll take you seriously no matter what, I think.
We'll take you seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of your anger.
I'm not afraid of your anger. Yeah.
What time is
Wow.
it?
It's close to the our final midnight.
Yeah, it was a rough show. We got taken down. Dude, that feels like a lifetime ago.
I'm like hanging
You
by
know what I
a
mean?
thread right now. I really feel like I'm
Yeah, yeah, I know. We all are. We all are.
right. But collectively as a
But we
community.
appreciate, yeah, we appreciate everybody sticking with us tonight, you know?
Yeah.
Um, we're dialing it in, and we're gonna get better
Mhm.
as the episodes
And then
go
probably
on. We've
worse
got some
again, and
really
then
fun
better
things.
again, and then worse again, because that's how things
All
go.
right, well, I like to be a little bit optimistic
No,
about
that's
it.
not
I'm just joking. I'm just
optimistic.
joking.
I
Um,
Is it over yet?
so yeah, yeah, it's over. It's over.
I'm
Do
fine.
you have
Everything's
anything
fine.
else that you'd like to say, Mallory?
No, I'm fine. Everything's fine. No, yeah, I do.
Well,
I am always, as always, the most grateful for you and producer Chris and Pippa, who is our operator, and the community and everyone who called. Oh,
oh wait.
we haven't done the readings yet tonight. N- um, it's a oh boy.
Okay, so Chris is in my ear right now, and he's reminding me of a couple of things that we didn't do the daily readings. Jesus, we're really dropping the ball. And also, it's a new moon.
It's a
We're
new
back
moon
on the new
tonight,
moon.
which is how we started.
Hmm.
Which is how we started.
Yeah.
And how this relates is I don't know, but maybe because I want to blame everything that happened tonight on Mercury going retrograde tomorrow. So it's a new
Okay.
moon tonight. Let's just go with that. Okay.
I think that's it. So, Chris, I want you to please roll that moon footage, and then I want you to roll that midnight footage, and then come back to me, and then us, and then we'll play us out for the night.
From Vancouver to Vallejo, Salem to San Diego, it's midnight in the Pacific Time Zone. Thank you for joining tonight's broadcast as we followed midnight across America.
So that's it. That's our show, and we really appreciate you sticking it out with us. Producer Chris, in Austin, Texas. We've also got Pippa, wherever Pippa may be. And all of our callers that called in, Mallory in Vancouver, myself in Los Angeles, signing off with a big old kiss. Thank you so much. Join us next Saturday. Visit our Instagram page.
5 on it
You'll find
underscore
it.
live.
Yeah, download that cool flyer and make little cuts on it, and
That's also at our
pass it out to
Instagram.
all of the cafes. That's at our Instagram. Thank you so much, and we love you. Roll those credits, Chris.
Bye.